Teaching students their constitutional rights is not right. One publicly funded school is scolding this teacher for doing it, but is that fair?
I'm not here to stir the pot. I'm just trying to protect my kids.
Our country was built on the Constitution, but a public high school teacher is now in trouble for teaching it to his students. He was suspended for a day after telling the kids they have a constitutional right not to answer certain questions on a school survey.
Several of the questions asked the students to self-report on what can potentially be criminal behavior. Do you take alcohol? Do you do illegal drugs? Do you lie or cheat? Do you smoke or chew tobacco?
So, Jonathan, I saw Lois Lerner take the fifth the other day, but I think he's saying the kids could do the same, right?
Well, I mean, he's trying to teach young people, Eric. I mean, a recent study showed only 16% of young people actually know much anything about the Constitution. So here you have a high school teacher actually trying to teach them something about what the Constitution stands for. And, of course, he's shot down from the get-go. I mean, what the public schools do teach now is what? Sacrifice and submission. Case in point is, this requirement or asking students to basically self-incriminate themselves by providing this data. I mean, if you look in the Constitution, I think what you won't find is any mention of the public schools. I think the founders understood it was really dangerous to have a monopoly.
Let me move this over to Tracy. As someone with kids like I'm over. This is a tough one for us. I want to know what's going on in the school with my high school kids.
And you know what? They're minors. I hate to break it to you. You don't really have rights at this point. You are breaking the law. And for the teacher to evoke the Fifth Amendment at a time like this, look, hey, history class is I'm all about it. But at this point, these kids are under the protection of the school. We entrust our children to these people and the building. I want to know everything. I don't really care.
Hang on. Go ahead, Julian. Break the tie. I'm guessing I know which way you're going to go. Go ahead, Julian.
Well, as I always say, I hate to agree with Jonathan on principle here. But Jonathan's exactly right. It was a dumb survey. If the school really wanted this information, they would have done an anonymous survey. There are potentially really Fifth Amendment issues here. These answers to these questions go into permanent files for the students. And the teacher was absolutely right in giving students this civics lesson. He was right on.
Wayne, I kind of agree with Tracy on this. Kids need some direction. Now, maybe they should have done it anonymously. I'll agree with Julian on that one.
Well, making a kid, giving him direction and saying you're going to violate the Constitution or giving him a lesson about the Constitution are totally different things. I agree with Jonathan. I agree with Julian. All due respect to you, sweetheart, I don't agree because I don't think it's the appropriate place for a teacher to substitute himself for the parent. The parent is going to do those things, and the teacher is doing exactly what he should do in this case.
At the same time, though, Eric, I defy a kid to tell his coach he's not going to take a drug test. And that you can argue is the same thing. That's a violation of my rights, but I choose to do it. These kids...
Drug tests are totally...
It's not totally different. It's not.
Bring this home, Jonathan.
Just don't you see where this goes, Tracy? I mean, the high school junior says, yeah, I smoked a couple cigarettes. That goes into the schools, aka the government's computer, and lo and behold, 5-6 years from now, when he applies for Obamacare, there it is in his permanent record.
Bringing it home, Jonathan. Making this a full circle show.
You know what?
We got to leave it there. Trace, hang on to that thought.
I need Jonathan to adopt some children to get a clue.
We'll do this next week again, I'm sure. Thanks to Julian Epstein for joining us this week. Coming up.